How do you make yourself a prospect? What's up, guys? Hey, it's that time of year where everybody's going back to school. Maybe you're starting out school, freshman year. All you guys are going to college. All the best, good luck. Thinking about when I went to college reminded me of when I was in high school trying to get to college. This video is really about how do you get yourself noticed? How do you put yourself on the radar so that all the coaches from those schools can find you, know where to look, know who you are, and then start your recruiting process. How do you make yourself a prospect? How do you put yourself on the map? This is something these days that's a lot easier than it used to be, especially with the internet. I'm not that old. I'm not even 30 years old yet. But believe it or not, my very first highlight tape was on a VHS. Yes, now I'm going to my old man mode. Some of you kids don't even know what dial-up internet is, let alone what a VHS is. Be grateful. The fact that you can post your stuff on Huddle, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. You've got all of these avenues of how you can market yourself as an athlete. But if you really want to break through and separate yourself from everybody else, you got to take it upon yourself to reach out to every single school that you would be willing to go to and introduce yourself formally. Now, how I did this, I wrote a letter, all right? So not only did I send my highlight tape to a bunch of places, I wrote out a letter, not with a pen. Yes, we had computers back in 2006, 2007. I wrote a letter and I sent it with my highlight tape. Back in the day, my highlight tape was on a DVD that I sent in the mail, so I had to print this out. You guys have it even easier. You don't have to put your stuff in the mail physically and spend dollars on postage. You can actually email this with a link to your Huddle or your YouTube. So in this sample prospecting letter that I'm gonna go through and walk through with you guys, there's 4 main components about yourself as an athlete, as a student athlete, that you have to explain and tell the coaches about. All right, so 1 is your personal information, 2 is your academic history, 3 is your athletic profile, and 4 is your resume. So there's 4 main components to your recruiting letter that should accompany your highlight tape in the email that introduces yourself to the coaches. I sent my letter to 100 schools between grade 11 and grade 12. Between junior year and senior year, I sent this letter along with my highlight tape to 100 schools. 100 schools. All right. If you really want this, if you really want to go and play ball at the next level, you have to be willing to put in the work. It's easier than ever, believe it or not, to go on Google, find a school, find the staff directory, find the coach's contact information, and send them your highlight tape and a letter or an email that introduces you as a player, as a student, as an athlete overall, and so that you can put yourself on the map as a recruit. So number 1, personal information. Your age, your height, your weight, your age, your height, your weight, your graduating class. Just stuff that really explains who you are, when you're going to be available to be a recruit. It basically tells them, hey, I'm here. This is my name. That's it. You got to introduce yourself first. It's like shaking your hands, looking someone in the eye, and letting them know that you're in the room. This is the important part to open up with every, email in general if you're just introducing yourself to somebody. Or if you're at a camp or a combine and you're meeting coaches for the first time, you got to know this stuff. Start with your name, your age, height, weight, whatever. Second is your academic history. This is where you're talking about your GPA and your test scores. To get into university in the US, you need to either take the ACT or the SAT. Your SAT and your ACT scores are going to have to be at a certain level depending on where your GPA is at. Knowing these things, think like a coach. Think like a coach. I can only recruit you if you're going to be able to get into my school. So you can automatically separate yourself from the pack if you tell them what your scores are, so they know right off the bat, this guy, he's good. I know he's going to be able to get into our school. I know that this girl is going to be able to qualify and pass the NCAA clearinghouse. I know you're not going to be a problem of being on academic probation. Tell them right off the bat, these are what my grades are. These are what my scores are. This is who I am as a student. Third, athletic profile. Okay, so these are your stats, your achievements, whatever accolades you have, and maybe your measurables. All right, so football, we always talk about combine numbers. What you bench, what's your 40, what's your vert, your T-test, or your L drill. These things are all you know, they're important and they help separate you from the pack. Also, you want to talk about your stats on the season. You know, how many interceptions, how many touchdowns, how many yards, what was the highest amount of tackles you got in a game. All these things that can help you jump off the page. And maybe you were most improved player. Maybe you were player of the week, player of the game, MVP. Maybe you made the newspaper for, you know, all city. You want to highlight all of these things because this is you putting yourself out there and saying, I have accomplished something in the past. And this is a reason for you to not only finish reading the rest of this letter, but then now press play on my highlight tape and see what I could actually do. Step 4, this is what I call your resume. This is where you're telling them, hey, look, my transcripts are attached to this so you can see what my grades are actually like. My highlight tape is attached to this. And I'm going to show you actually what kind of courses that I'm going to be, or what major I might be looking into to get involved with at school. Let them know that you're serious. This is your actual resume. Maybe you could even tell them at this point what the kind of stuff you're into. Maybe you were the president of your high school, the head of some club. Who knows? You're showing them the whole picture of who you are as a leader, as a student, as an athlete. So there's 4 main categories that you have to cover. All right, now make sure that you cover all 4 of these areas. Hopefully this helps. Everybody who's going to school for the first time, all the best. Everybody who's trying to get recruited, put themselves out there, hey, keep working hard. And when everybody else is done, make sure you put in that overtime.